Welcome back. So you are now on B3. We are using ratios and rates to help us solve problems. You want to make sure that you have one of the papers before you get started here so that you can follow along with me as we go. All right, so first off, let's get some vocabulary terms. A rate is a special type of ratio that compares two different units. Okay, so it's a type of ratio. We're still just comparing numbers or looking at the relationship between two numbers, but now we have specific units tied to our numbers. So some examples of rates would be 6 chapters in 2 hours, or 150 words in 4 minutes, 120 miles in 3 hours, or $8 to 24 hours. Okay, so we'll be seeing some similar rates as we work through our problems here today. Let's take a look at example 1. It says Stevie can walk 4 miles in 60 minutes. At that rate, how long would it take him to walk 12 miles? Okay, we're going to use the idea of equivalent rates to help us solve this. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the rate that I know. He can go 4 miles in 60 minutes. Whenever we're doing this, it's really important that you're labeling your numbers. Okay, now I'm going to make an equivalent rate. Okay, very similar to an equivalent fraction. Because I have miles to minutes in my first rate, I want to make sure that I set it up the same way in my second rate, miles to minutes. And we know from the problem that he's going to be walking 12 miles. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in on the top. Okay, and now we're going to look at the relationship between these. If we went from 4 miles to 12 miles, what happened there? Well, we multiplied it by 3. Okay, so that means to keep this rate equal, I have to do the same thing to the bottom. So I'm going to take 60 times 3. 60 times 3 is 180. So it would take him 180 minutes to walk 12 miles. He might be kind of tired by the time he's finished. Okay, please make sure that you guys are showing your work like I am, underlining important information, labeling your numbers. Okay, let's go on to example 2. A lemonade mix calls for 2 tablespoons of mix for every 3 cups of water. If the container has 24 tablespoons of mix, how many cups of water will be needed? Again, I'm going to start with what I know. I know 2 tablespoons of mix for 3 cups of water. Okay, let's make another ratio set up the same way with tablespoons to cups. Okay, and we know there are 24 tablespoons in the whole container of lemonade. Okay, so what is that relationship there? To get from 2 to 24, we're going to have to multiply by 12. So that means we have to take 3 times 12 to figure out how many total cups of water. 3 times 12 is 36. So you will need 36 cups of water if you're going to make the entire container of lemonade. All right, and the last one, example 3. The Technology Center has 1 Chromebook for every 3 iPads. If there are 24 total iPads, how many Chromebooks are there? Okay, so start with what you know. 1 Chromebook for every 3 iPads. And we're going to make that equal to another ratio comparing Chromebooks to iPads. And this time we know there's 24 total iPads. So I'm going to fill that in down here with my iPads. Okay, start with what we know. What is that relationship from 3 to 24? You guys know we would have to multiply by 8. So we're going to take 1 times 8 up here to keep that equal. 1 times 8 is 8. So there would be 8 Chromebooks. Whoops, I'm not spelling it right though. 8 Chromebooks. Oh my goodness. You guys can write that nice and neat on your paper. Okay, so you guys are ready to go practice solving problems using these ratios and rates. Remember, you need to show your work like we did on these 3 examples right here. Make sure you're keeping all of your numbers labeled and you're circling your final answer. Better yet, you should write it in a sentence. Okay, good luck!